The magic has returned to the Lumpkin Center, and no at time was it more on display than Wednesday night. Both the Cougars and Lady Cougars picked up big wins over North Georgia, and now before their toughest road trip thus far, they will face the opponents from the east side of the state. First, it's the Columbus State Lady Cougars, 19th ranked in the country, taking on the Georgia Regents University Augusta Jaguars. And a pleasant good afternoon to everybody. Will DeBoer behind the mic on Cougar Sports TV. If you wanted a statement from the Lady Cougars on Wednesday night, you got a whole speech. 92-71, 55 points in the first half. They obliterated a team that at that point was only one game out of first place. Now they'll take this momentum and hope to parlay it into a good showing against GRU Augusta, who comes into this game the opposite of flying high. They've lost 5 in a row, just 2-12 overall, but they have always given CSU trouble, especially in the past 2 seasons. We caught up with Coach Jonathan Norton before the game to get his take on the matchup ahead. So here he is. The Lady Cougars used a big first half to knock off North Georgia on Wednesday. Now before a big road test at Lander, they take on GRU Augusta right here in the Lumpkin Center. Here's head coach Jonathan Norton. Coach, first of all, your 100th win came on Wednesday night. Congratulations. Did it feel any different from the others?
No, it didn't, because I didn't really know about it until last minute. It just means that I've been here quite a few years, and we've had some good players, and it's fun, but hopefully we can keep going and go for several more years and try to get a couple more hundred. It'd be great, but we're just worried about the next one, and that's today against GRU.
Well, I can expect if 101 comes the same way as 100 did, you'd be very happy. 55 points in the first half, 61% shooting. That must have been one heck of a pregame speech.
I don't think it had anything to do with my pregame speech. I think our girls came out. You know, we had lost a tough one on Saturday at Georgia College, and they had 2 great practices leading up, and came out with a lot of focus, a lot of energy, a lot of excitement, and, you know, we made a few shots early, and so everybody gains confidence. You know, it's a feel-good thing, and we just shot the ball extremely well.
And also shooting the ball extremely well, Brittany Tatum, turning a career game, 20 points, the 8 rebounds. She was one of your few significant returners from last year's PBC champion team. How has that stability at the point guard position really helped your team develop this year?
Well, it's been great. You know, you just kind of know what you're going to get with Brittany. She's had a great non-conference season, and even the first few games in conference play. When we came back from Christmas, she was struggling a little bit. First 3 games, turning the ball over, wasn't shooting the ball with any confidence. So we just brought her in, and she, to her credit, she has done a ton of extra work with Kirsten Reed, one of our graduate assistants who works with our guards, and they've been out here every day for about an hour, getting lots of shots up, going against the blocking dummy with handling the ball with pressure, and she's put in the work, and it's paid off for her on Saturday. You know, she played really well, shot the ball real, and that's the big thing for her. It's just confidence and feeling good about pulling the trigger, and she did that, and hopefully it will continue.
Now also out here working hard, right in front of us, actually Michelle Mitchell, who
Right.
turned in her usual 20-point game on Wednesday, 4 straight for her. With a player like her, does she even need a coach, or does she sort of put you out of the job when it comes to coaching her?
She makes me look like I know what I'm doing, but she makes it easy. You see she's out here, you know, almost 2 hours before the game, getting a lot of shots up, getting focused. She does that even on our off days. Tomorrow we'll be off, and she'll be in the gym working on her game, always asking to watch extra film, and she just does all those things, and that's what makes her such a special player.
Now let's talk about one of your freshmen, Erin Morrow, who has emerged this year as your 6th player. She had 2 starts right before Christmas and 23 minutes against North Georgia. What has she improved on most this season to earn that playing time?
Well, what she's done is Erin is a super smart basketball player, high basketball IQ, and you don't usually see it in basketball like you do in baseball, but she's kind of a utility player. She can really shoot the ball and play on the wing, but she's physical, and she's used to playing at the power forward spot in high school because she played on a smaller high school team, but she's very smart and can pick up and learn all the offenses and all the sets from those different positions, which is hard to do. And then she's been outstanding on the defensive end, and we use her at the top of our zone. She can guard perimeter players off the dribble, and she can bang with the big girls down low, and so she's just kind of that glue kind of girl that just does a little bit of everything right. You know, she's not going to score 20, not going to get 15 rebounds, but she's going to score a little bit. She's going to get a rebound. She's going to get a steal. She's going to have an assist, and she's going to always be in the right spot on defense.
And she'll give you something you can work with every game.
Absolutely, absolutely.
All right, now you got Georgia Regions coming into town in a couple hours here. They've given you trouble the last 2 years. You needed overtime on the road last year and won by just 7 in this building 2 years ago. What sort of matchup problems do the Jags give you?
Well, Coach Teamer and I are good friends. We've coached against each other for a lot of years. When he was at Southern Poly up in Atlanta and I was at Barry, we were in the same league, so we're very familiar with each other. He runs a lot of sets. We run a lot of sets. So he does a great job of getting his best players the shots they need. And with this year's team, you know, they got the power forward Hutt, who's outstanding. She's a double-double machine. And then they got 2 perimeter players, one that can really shoot it and one that's really versatile, can shoot it and drive it, and it's really tough. So they've got 3 really good players offensively that we'll have to guard. And then he does a good job defensively. He's going to scout our stuff. He's going to take away our, he's going to try to take away what we want to do primarily. Our first and second options. He's going to change it up. He's going to play 2 different zones. He's going to play man. He's going to press you a little bit. So he's just going to try to keep you off balance. And so we've got to play. First thing I've got written on the board is we've got to play intelligent on both ends of the floor.
Now, Kariel Hutt especially is going to be a big matchup problem for you. The double-double machine, 14 and 14 the last game. You said you're putting Ashley Isuzu on her today, and Ashley's been doing very well the last couple of weeks, but hasn't seen a matchup like that. How important is it for her to really succeed in this battle?
It's real important. Most importantly is keep Ashley on the floor. Ashley has struggled with foul trouble, leaving her feet, going for shot fakes. So we've worked hard with that. Coach Tim is our post coach. She's worked hard with that. So if we can keep Ashley on the floor, we feel good about it. She's went up against bigger posts that are more physical and a post-oriented team at Aiken when she had 18 rebounds. So if we keep her on the floor, we feel like she'll rebound the ball and she'll do a really good job defensively. And she's one of those smart posts that when she does stay on the floor, she'll take charges. So we're hoping that if she'll hold her position, we might be able to get a charge call or 2 and get Hutt out of the game.
You had a big win against North Georgia Wednesday. Tuesday you go on the road at Lander, first place in the other division. And then you got Georgia Regions now. What do you say to your team? What do you do to keep it from becoming sort of a trap game today?
Well, we hadn't even talked about Tuesday. I hadn't mentioned Lander. I hadn't mentioned their record, anything. It's all been since Wednesday. I said enjoy the North Georgia win, and on Thursday we're going to focus on Georgia Regents, and that's all it's been is everything we've written on the board, scout and report, practice. All we've talked about is winning the next game on Saturday. I don't even know if they know exactly, other than Martin Luther King Day, is they don't have class on Monday, and they know we're practicing in the morning and leaving that night, but we haven't mentioned Lander at all.
On paper, it seems like a trap game. CSU is ready to take it head on. Coach, thank you and good luck.
Thanks, Will.
Head coach Jonathan Norton a couple hours before the start of this game, and now we are just a couple minutes away from the start, so let's get you the keys to each side. For CSU, basically, you heard from him, stay the course, play your game. You can choose your own third cliche to fill in that situation. Don't get too high from that North Georgia win, and don't look ahead to Lander on Tuesday. Focus on the task at hand, and they should do just fine. Player-wise, they need to get it to the hot hand. Brittany Tatum with those 20 points on Wednesday. Today is Saturday. If she is hot right out of the gate, keep going to her. Otherwise, see if you can find somebody else. And then Michelle Mitchell, what can you say about her? Just got to let Michelle be Michelle. Let her run the isolation if she's feeling very, very good. For Georgia Regents, it comes down to something very, very simple. Don't miss, like ever. That's all you can really say. Individually wise, Kariel Hutt will provide a challenge to Ashley Isuzu, certainly, the double-double machine, as Coach Norton described her. They need to get the bench involved. The 4 starters for GRU Augusta played 30-plus minutes against Armstrong, 4 of those 5 starters. So if you can get the bench going, then Coach Nate Teamer is really going to have a chance to pull off the upset. There's a saying where I come from in Indiana. The Purdue Boilermakers, when they were bad, they would occasionally win a big game. They call them the Spoilermakers. That's what GRUA has to do today. They have to be the Spoilermakers. At stake for both teams, if Columbus State wins, they remain in first place by themselves atop the PBC West. Second place, Clayton State is playing Flagler right now. In fact, that game may be just finishing up fairly soon. They need to take the momentum from this game, assuming there is momentum, and take it into Lander on Tuesday. And a win will keep them in the top 25, possibly vault them above the 19th position, which is where they are this week. GRU wins. They will break a tie with Flagler in the PBC East cellar, assuming that Flagler loses. And they'll take momentum into a winnable game on the road at Young Harris on Monday. And again, the chance to play Spoilermaker is too good to resist. We'll see if Coach Teamer can get his team properly motivated and get them the win that they need. A Saturday matinee crowd trickling into the Lump, ready for another double dip of PBC basketball. Here's Brian Salito, your public address announcer.
Featuring the Jaguars of Georgia Regents University, Augusta, who come into today's contest with an overall record of 2 wins and 12 losses. The Jaguars are 1-6 in conference play. And your Columbus State University Lady Cougars, 15-1 overall, 6-1 in the Peach Belt. In just a moment, we'll introduce today's starting lineups. But first, we ask that you please rise and gentlemen remove your hats as the Cougar Pep Band honors the United States of America with the playing of our national anthem. Thank you. And now, introducing today's starters, first for the Jaguars of Georgia Regents University, Augusta. At forward, 16 tall, a junior from Blue Springs, Missouri, number 5, Cariel Hutt. At center, 16 tall, a senior from Pella, Iowa, number 42, Kelsey Feinhardt. At one guard, 5'5", a junior from St. Petersburg, Florida, number 15, Caleb Roberts. At guard, 5'7", a freshman from Swanee, number 21, Joshua Belcher. And at guard, 5'8", a junior from Andover, Kansas, number 2, Camille E. The head coach of the Jaguars is Nick Teamer, assisted by Special Jennings. And now let's meet and greet the Lady
Well, there you have the starters for Columbus State, same as it ever was. The lineup they've been trucking out for about 90% of the games this season. GRU Augusta has been bouncing their lineup around a little bit more throughout the year, but they have settled on G, Hutt, Roberts, Belcher, and Feinhardt in the past couple of weeks. The teams break their huddles and they will head to center court for the opening tip-off. GRU in the all-navy blue road uniforms. They will move left to right as you see them. CSU in the traditional home whites with the red trim. They will move right to left in this first half. Kerry Washington will take the tip, assumedly against Kelsey Feinhardt, the center. No, it'll be Cariel Hutt. CSU Theater is putting on the Marriage of Figaro in the downtown River Center complex this weekend. Meanwhile, the Lady Cougars look to continue their own masterpiece into this next act. We are underway on a Saturday from the Lump. Mitchell controls the opening tip, got confused for just a touch about which way they were going, and now they're all settled. Here's Michelle Mitchell, the second leading scorer in the Peach Belt Conference this season. Almost certainly a first-team all-leaguer. And she misses her first shot, but Suzu wins the first rebound on the boards, and she puts it back up and in. I'll score at 1 for Ashley Isuzu against Cariel Hutt, the big matchup of the day. And GRU comes right back with the tying basket. That's Jocelyn Belcher. Usually just a 30% shooter from the floor, but she is perfect in her one attempt today. The teams trade buckets in the opening minute. Now here's Brittany Tatum, gives it to Dee Dee DeShazer, a long three-pointer, just a hair strong. Dee Dee gets her own rebound. 18-footer from the baseline, well short. Rebound controlled by Camille G. And here come the Jags. Jocelyn Belcher running the point, the 5'7" freshman from Suwannee, the big star at North Gwinnett High School. G has it, double team, pitches it off to Cariel Hutt. Hutt works around Washington. Layup is a no-go, rebound going the other way. Odd man rush for CSU. Here's Michelle Mitchell, pitching it to DeShazer from the wing. Got it! Dee Dee DeShazer. One of the top three-point shooters in this league, ranks 8th in three-point percentage. And she hits her second of this game. A quick timeout taken by Nate Teemer. GRUA doesn't want to let this one go so early. You see Nate Teemer, the coach for GRU Augusta. It's his 5th season. Inherited a team that won 5 games in the 2 years combined before he got there. His first year they won 8 games. Second year was 12, and his third year was the biggie, 2013, when they went 21-5 overall and were the #1 seed in the Peach Belt Conference tournament. Now leaner times have come upon GRU Augusta in the past couple seasons, but they have indeed given CSU trouble over the last couple of years. Pass into the wing to Hutt, inside to Feinhardt, three-pointer by Belcher. Off the mark, rebound by Isuzu. Ashley brings it up and gets it to her point, Brittany Tatum. Tatum weaves her way in the inside, gives it to Mitchell on the wing. She won't shoot it. She hardly ever takes a three-pointer, scoring all of her points from mid-range jump shots. Ball knocked out of bounds. Hutt got a hand on it and will stay on the white end. 2 minutes into the ball game, CSU leading the Jaguars 5-2. 12 on the shot clock as Mitchell will inbound. Here's Michelle. Floats it for Washington, a little too tall for her. Going the other way is Kayla Roberts. Roberts guarded by DeShazer, an 8-foot jumper off the glass and good. And there's a steal off the inbound by Jocelyn Belcher. Augusta waits for the whole team to get back there, and they will set up. The drive inside, no good. G was accosted, and Michelle Mitchell takes the rebound. Mitchell pushing, weaves her way through to the defenders. What a split. And Michelle Mitchell is on the board with her first points at 7-4. Mitchell so athletic, so good at reading the defense. She can slice it for the layup. She can shoot from mid-range. Not so much long range, but she gets enough mid-range shots that she scores 20 points a game. As a little 10-footer, it's good by Cariel Hutt. Jaguars sticking with the Lady Cougars in the first 3 minutes of the game. It's a 1-point deficit for the visitors. Mitchell gives it to Tatum on the left wing. Brittany goes baseline. Tried to get it to DeShazer in the opposite corner, and the deflection by Jocelyn Belcher, doing her best Richard Sherman on this eve of conference championship weekend in the NFL. Mitchell to inbound from just beyond the S in Cougars on that floor. Tatum looking for help, gives it to DeShazer. Into the corner for Mitchell, 7 to shoot. Michelle gives it off to Souza. They're going to have to put one up. Tatum, 2 to shoot, loses, and it's another turnover. GRU Augusta going the other way. Belcher working on DeShazer. 12-footer, short, rebound, Kerry Washington. Now it's a 2-on-1. Mitchell's got DeShazer. She will take it herself and lay it in. A defender's worst nightmare, the odd man rush with Michelle Mitchell running the ball. Most players would pitch it, but she's athletic enough to put it in herself. And Kerry Washington with the stuff. Washington with those long arms and 6-foot body, able to rack up the blocks all season. She ranks 5th in the NCAA, 3.3 swats per game. Into the corner, this is G to take a three-pointer. Missed it to the left, rebound is Washington. With a couple more rebounds, she'll advance to 13th in Peach Belt Conference history in boards for a career. Mitchell at the top of the circle, working on G. G playing off her, knowing that Michelle doesn't take many three-pointers. Tatum from the wing, strong. Rebound is Cariel Hutt. Hutt comes into this game a 10th of a rebound shy of averaging a double-double. 10.9 points, 9.9 rebounds. The rebounds still enough to put her 3rd in the conference in boards per game, behind Washington, of course, who's number 1. Also 25th in the league in scoring. 8 to shoot for Belcher. Tried to go inside for Feinhardt. The steal is there by Isuzu, and she draws contact. And that's the first foul against Cariel Hutt, first foul of the game for either side. It comes about 5 minutes in, and it brings us to our first media timeout of the afternoon. 9-6 CSU in a hotly contested early gambit. You're watching CSU women's basketball right here on Cougar Sports TV. Nine to 6, Lady Cougars leading the Jaguars 5 minutes into this Saturday afternoon affair. Let's take a look around the Peach Belt before we get back to game action. A final from Francis Marion. Young Harris over the Patriots, 67-65. A game of importance for both teams today. Clayton State slaughters Flagler, 90-71. Also North Georgia knocking off UNC Pembroke, 59-50. As Tatum draws contact, Kayla Roberts called for her first foul. Meanwhile, over in Savannah, Armstrong defeating Georgia College 76-71. A game currently in progress. Lander and Montevallo. Lander leads by 9. There's the steal by Kayla Roberts. She's had a couple of those in the early part of this game, and Tatum takes it right back. It's a 2-on-1. Tatum and Washington. Tatum takes it herself, and she is stripped by Belcher. Out of bounds, going to the Jaguars. How about Jocelyn Belcher, the freshman coming into the big building and playing with no fear. A 9.4 points a game score. She also pulls down 3.5 rebounds, 2 1/3 assists, and 1.3 steals as Mitchell sends G's shot into the cheerleader section. Inbound coming from Kayla Roberts. And she finds Camille G. Into the corner for Belcher, taking a 3, rims out. Asuzu pulls down the rebound. Ashley's really put it together in the past couple of weeks, especially on the boards, as Michelle Mitchell gets one off the top of the corner of the backboard and in. Oh, that's 6 for Michelle Mitchell. She had 22 on Wednesday. 4 straight games, getting into the 20-point margin. On her way today. Trapped near the half court, they get out of it. Here is G. Screen set, and they give it off to Kayla Roberts. Roberts 8 to shoot. Slicing in on Mitchell. Too strong, and the rebound's pulled down by Erin Cochran, new into this game. Cochran going baseline, and Roberts got a hand on it, forcing the fumble out of bounds. Only substitution for the Lady Cougars coming out of that timeout. Erin Cochran, the 5'7" freshman out of Hiwassee, Georgia. Towns County High School is where she went. Made it all the way to the state championship game as a senior. DeShazer in the corner. She'll swing it on the 3. Comes up short. Chases down her own rebound, but loses it to Tavia Sykes, new into the game for GRU Augusta. G on the wing. They give it off to Sykes. Sykes for 3. And she misses it long. Gets her own rebound, pitches it off to Feinhardt. Now it's G, accosted by DeShazer. Roberts will swing it out and work with the 20 seconds she's got left on the shot clock. Feinhardt, give and go with Roberts. G for 3, no. Another offensive rebound, but Mitchell comes up with a steal. 3 on 2, 4 on 2 even. And Mitchell will take it herself against the double team and puts it in. And why not? Michelle Mitchell's been doing that all year. Incredible in transition. What a find for Coach Jonathan Norton out of Troy University. Transferred there after going straight to there from Dodge County High School in Eastman, Georgia. G swings it over some tough competition, and she'll get called for a foul. Washington went up for the rebound and came on top of G, who gets the whistle against her. 4 straight points for CSU out of that media timeout. They've stretched their lead to 13-6. A touchdowns advantage for the 19th ranked team in Division II. By virtue of their big win against North Georgia, 21 points, they may move up in the polls. Depends on what everybody else did, of course, and it depends on how well they do against a team that, frankly, they should beat. Cochran feeds Washington on the give and go. Closest thing to an alley-oop you'll see in this game. The Cochran to Washington connection gives CSU a 9-point lead. There's the first points for Kerry Washington, who only had 2 against North Georgia. Got into foul trouble, but got the elevation she needed for a very athletic basket. First foul of the game for CSU, and it goes against Erin Cochran. Inbound goes to Sykes, and she saves it from going over the backcourt line. Calling for some help, hands it off to Kayla Roberts. Crowd starting to get into it. The rooting section, friends of Jonathan Norton, and the CSU cheerleaders, all with those defense signs in the corner. Cochran with the steal, going the other way, jump move, and they're going to call a walk on her. Cochran smiling. She knew she probably got a travel on that one. No basket, and a turnover will force a stoppage in play and our under 12 media timeout. Same score for GRU going into this break. For CSU, 6 more points and a 9-point lead. You're watching CSU women's basketball right here on Cougar Sports TV. (15 to 6 with 11:43 to go in the first half. Columbus State chipping away at Georgia Region's hopes in this game. Augusta has not scored in about 5 minutes. And now new point guard Erica Waters will look and change that. Gives off to Sykes. Floater to Hutt in the corner. We haven't said Hutt's name in the past few minutes. CSU able to contain her. Here's Waters. Into the corner for Hutt, guarded by Washington. Into the corner, G almost lost control. Now 6 to shoot, going inside to Sabrina Montgomery. Montgomery loses that out of bounds, and it'll go to the Lady Cougars. Also new onto the court for Columbus State. Bria Walker, number 23, local standout from Columbus, and also Aaron Morrow, the de facto 6th man for Jonathan Norton's bunch. Pass gets swatted out of bounds. It'll stay with White. And Morrow, the 5'8" freshman out of Johns Creek, Georgia, a graduate of Chattahoochee High School, one of the highest basketball IQs on this Lady Cougar bunch. And she'll play on the wings in this setup here. Washington in the corner for DeShazer. Rims out. Just a touch strong. DD again fighting for her own rebound, but she loses it to Montgomery. Nice hustle from DeShazer off of all of her misses so far. This is Sykes. Coming back from injury is Tavia Sykes. Has not been the same player, but she's working back to get to the way she was. Guarded by Tatum, works around her, 15-foot jumper, it's good. Tavia Sykes with her first bucket, and GRU their first points in about 6 minutes. Brings it back to 15 to 8. Here's Tatum running the point. Hands off to Morrow. Bree Walker so dangerous on the wing. She'll take the three-pointer. No. Rebound. Washington went after it. DeShazer comes up with it. Dee Walker. Three-pointer again. Got it! Perfect shot from Bree Walker. Nothing but net. 44% from three-point range. One of the top shooters in this conference. And she's got her first bucket of the game. Working inside Montgomery, draws the foul, puts it in. Sabrina Montgomery working on Kerry Washington and winning that battle. Washington will take a seat as Mitchell comes back in. Ashley Isuzu will play the 5 position. As Montgomery goes to the free throw line, just 42% from the charity stripe. Almost looks like she shoots with 2 hands, and she lives up to her billing on that shot. 18-10, CSU looking for the answer. Morrow at the top of the circle, swings it to Walker. Here's Tatum. Brittany Tatum brings it back out. Walker on the wings, back to Brittany. The handoff is to Morrow in the backfield, going inside Mitchell. From the peach, and she rattles it in. Michelle Mitchell shooting from the P in that PVC logo. P standing for points. It's a 10-point lead for the Lady Cougars. First time they've got it into double digits in this ball game. Roberts, long pass goes to Hutt. Hutt works inside, and she wins that battle against Isuzu. Cariel Hutt with 4 points. top scorer for the Jags. Pass goes out of bounds. Who got a finger on it? That was Sykes. And it goes straight into the drum kit of the CSU pep band. Talk about a cymbal crash. 20 to shoot. The shot clock doesn't restart. Here is Morrow. She was in the post position on that last free throw, but she seems to be moving out to the wings again. Walker from the corner. Just out. Montgomery with the rebound. Sabrina Montgomery, the tallest player on the court right now at 6'3". Working inside with a floater is Sykes, no good. Isuzu picks up the board. Here's Michelle Mitchell. Swings it to Morrow, swings to Tatum. Ball moving like that usually results in points. Not that time. Montgomery with another rebound. This is Roberts. Sykes into the corner for Hutt. Guarded by Isuzu. Here's a cross-court pass and the swing to Erica Waters. To left, Sykes open. Walker comes over to help. 10 to shoot. Here's the double team. CSU strong on the defense. They leave a hole for Roberts, though, and she sinks the three. Kayla Roberts, her first three-pointer, the first tray of the afternoon for the Jaguars. And it's a 5-point deficit now. They could push it to 3 or even 2 this time. A mini run for the ladies in blue. And they'll continue that run. Off the glass, Kayla Roberts. Now all of a sudden, it's a one-possession game at 20 to 17. Tatum will slow it down. Coach Norton will send out DeShazer and Washington from the bench upon the next break, which will also bring us into our under 8 media timeout. Isuzu works their way around Montgomery, loses control, gets it back and puts it in. Ashley Isuzu, something then nothing that ends up with something big. 4 points for Ashley at a 5-point lead for Columbus State. Hutt draws the contact. That will probably go against Isuzu. Yes, it will. First foul for Ashley Isuzu. A clean first half so far, just 3 fouls for each side. Compare that to what we saw against North Georgia, and a very quick first half indeed. 6:50 to go from the Lumpkin Center, the first half. Columbus State leading Augusta 22-17. You're watching Lady Cougar basketball on Cougar Sports TV. What's up? 22-17, GRU Augusta on the comeback trail. Ashley Isuzu broke the run with a basket moments ago, but then she picked up her first foul of the afternoon and will send Cariel Hutt to the free throw line. Hutt from Blue Springs, Missouri, one of 2 GRU transfers from Johnson County Community College in Kansas. And she shanks the first free throw, only a 58% shooter. Not a strong free throw shooting team on the whole. Jaguars, and you can say the same about the Lady Cougars. And there's our first free throw for either side on the afternoon. It comes from Cariel Hutt. 5 points for her and a 4-point ball game. Tatum works it fast. Now Mitchell has it. Lady Cougars in motion. Washington left with it at the top of the circle. Can't do much with it. 10 to shoot now. Mitchell back to Washington. GRU defense stumping the Lady Cougars, and they win that joust Hutt with the steal. And here come the Jaguars. Belcher back into the game. She was big in those first 4 minutes. Hutt working around as Suzu. Shoots it just to the left. Mitchell chases down the rebound, but she's called for a travel and will stay on the GRU end. Aaron Cochran back in for Brittany Tatum. And CSU partisans not such a fan of that last call. Neither is the zoo they brought with them. Belcher, float pass into Sykes. Back to Belcher, guarded by Mitchell. They went in for Feinhardt, and Isuzu came up with the interception. Tatum feeding Washington, another alley-oop, too strong off the glass. She's not happy, she knew she had a gimme, and she gave it up. Now Augusta can get it back within a one-possession game, even get it within 1 point with a three-point basket. Feinhardt has it. Sykes inside to Hutt. I don't know if she was trying to shoot that or trying to pass to someone in the corner who wasn't there. In any case, it's Columbus basketball. Cochran to run the point. She averages about 10 minutes a game. Mitchell coming in on the baseline. Spin move. Goes up, draws contact, and she'll go to the free throw line. That one against Cariel Hutt. That's her second foul. Nate Teamer will probably take her to the bench. First chance he gets. Don't want to get that third foul in the first half. And he'll send Michelle Mitchell to the free throw line for the first time. An 87% shooter from the stripe. And she sinks her first. And strange enough, Mitchell, for all the scoring she does, she hardly ever takes threes. You've seen that, but she hardly ever goes to the free throw line. Averages just over 2.5 foul shots per game. Makes both of them, gets her up to 12 points in the first half. But if her average holds, she'll only go to the line maybe one more time this whole game. But for Coach Norton, again, it makes his job awfully easy with a player like that. He'll take the points any way he can get them. And those 2 points swing it back up to 6 points in the Lady Cougars' favor. 10 to shoot. Here's Feinhardt. Gives it back to Sykes. Sykes on the double team. And they're going to get Mitchell with the elbow. Michelle Mitchell's first foul. And she's been in foul trouble the last couple of games. 4 fouls in consecutive contests. But she's very, very careful when she does get that 4th foul because she had 30 minutes plus in each of those appearances. Into the corner for Sykes. Feinhardt left alone, swings it back out. Great passing all around. GRU with great ball movement. Sykes, double team. Mitchell with the interception. 2-on-1 with Cochran. They'll let her go her own way and put it in. Well, you can pretty much guarantee it at this point that if she gets on a run, she's going to give you points. Cochran with a steal, tried to keep it in bounds. Nice hustle play from the freshman. And she couldn't keep it in, and GRU will keep the rock. Just in front of us on the scorer's table, Camille G to inbound. And gives it to Kayla Roberts, the point guard, a 5'5" junior out of St. Pete, Florida. Transferred from Hillsborough Community College after this past year. G swinging it to Belcher. Belcher with 5 to shoot. Jocelyn Belcher swings it to Feinhardt. Feinhardt from 13 foot, no good. Isuzu the rebound. Actually, Isuzu crashing the boards in this first half. She'll take a long shot, misses it to the right. Carrie Washington the offensive rebound and a fresh 30. Cochran thought about going inside, but she'll bring it out and set up a play. Cochran to Isuzu, now Michelle Mitchell. Washington trying to set a screen, instead they'll give it to DeShazer. DeShazer with 8 to shoot. from the free throw line. Gives it to Washington. Back to DeShazer. Three-pointer. Physics not the friend of Dee DeShazer that time. And the call not the friend of the team in white. Another foul goes against Ashley Isuzu. 2 fouls for Ashley, and that brings us to our under 4 media timeout, the last one of this first half. 8-point game from the Lumpkin Center, 26-18 with 3:13 to go in the opening session. You're listening to Columbus State women's basketball right here on Cougar Sports TV. You're watching it as well. To the sounds of Bad Romance by Lady Gaga, we are back here at the Lumpkin Center for the final 3 minutes of this first half. Thanks for joining us on Cougar Sports TV, everybody. Will DeVore behind the mic. CSU looking to put an end to the bad romance they have with GRUA in these past couple years. They needed overtime to knock off the Jaguars last season. Granted, it was a crushing overtime defeat, 13-0 in those last 5 minutes. And they only beat them by 7 here in this building 2 years ago, 51-44. Swings it inside to Hutt. And it's an offensive foul. Aaron Cochran got set. And that is the 3rd foul against Cariel Hutt. Nate Teamer will pull her out for the rest of the first half. And she'll need to be awfully careful when that second 20 minutes begin. Cochran pushes it past the midline. Kayla Roberts comes over to press her in the backcourt. DeShazer on the give and go from Mitchell. DD well off the mark. Now that's the sort of thing, if it's a car, you want to take it into the shot because it's misaligned. DD DeShazer misaligned on that last 3-point attempt. She's been swinging him in this game. Just 1 of 7 from the floor, 1 of 6 from 3-point land. Part of a CSU attack that is shooting 46% from the floor, compared to just 35% for the visiting Jaguars. And that'll go up with Camille G's 2-point basket. G is on the board. The other Johnson County, Kansas transfer for the Jaguars, along with Hutt. Ariel Johnson into the game now, and she gives it off to another new face, Alexis Woods. Johnson fighting for it. G diving on the floor. And the referee was right there for it. They saw G slide over the end line. It'll stay with the Lady Cougars, but some nice hustle from Camille G, the 5'8" junior out of Andover, Kansas. She knows how to win. We'll tell you about the next chance we get. Johnson misses the 3, offensive board. Gary Washington pushes up the shot, and the foul is called against Kelsey Feinhardt. First foul against the big center from Pella, Iowa, and Kerry Washington going to the line. Too strong on the first one, only 46% from free throw land. Washington, her return so crucial after last year's Peach Belt tournament victory. And she's taken her game to a whole new level this season. 12.6 rebounds. Leading the PVC and near the top nationally. Michelle Mitchell with a one-handed interception. And she bounces off the bottom of the backboard. Some nice defense by Tavia Sykes. And just when you think it's automatic, Sykes comes up with a great defensive move, and Mitchell comes up empty-handed, a rare outcome for her. Now here is Sykes with Mitchell guarding her, looking for a spot of revenge. G fakes more out of her shoes, tries to go to Feinhardt. Carey got a fingertip on it. And it'll stay with the Jaguars. 1:33 to go in this first half, 27-20. GRU hanging tough. It looked as though it might get away from them. It was 20-10 just a few minutes ago. G for three. Misaligned, only slightly, but the offensive rebound goes to Erica Waters. Roberts slowing it down from the point, and it's off to Waters. Now it's G, double team. The swing is back to Roberts. Belcher, deflection by Morrow. It gets into Mitchell's hands. Mitchell will take it herself. 5-foot jumper off the glass and good. 30-second timeout taken by Jonathan Norton. 7th field goal of the first half for Michelle Mitchell. She has 16 points. And we will stay with you for this just a 30-second timeout. Michelle Mitchell, a sensational showing in the Lumpkin Center. She has 16 of Columbus State's 29 points in the opening 20 minutes. 29 happens to be Michelle's career high. She got it in the first game of the 2015 calendar year 2 weeks ago against Francis Marion. Looks to be on her way to doing that in this game if she keeps it up. Now 1 minute to go in the first half. Augusta trying to keep it within single digits. G. Here's Roberts on the left wing, guarded by Johnson. Belcher working around 2 Cougars. Rims out, rebound by Michelle Mitchell. Mitchell not just a shooter, she's a rebound machine herself. She's got 3 or 4 today already. Johnson into the corner. Working on Roberts. Here is Mitchell. About a 16-second differential between the shot and game clock. And there's the interception by Kelsey Feinhardt. The foul called on Ariel Johnson. The shot clock was already off. It will stay off after that foul. First foul against Ariel Johnson, just a 6th team foul. Again, both sides relatively clean with the exception of Cariel Hutt, the big 6-footer on GRU, who has half of their fouls, meaning 3. Roberts with Johnson playing the pesky defense. Gets it back. Johnson really working on her there. 7 to go in the half. Waters, and there's a whistle. And they're going to get Ariel Johnson for another foul per second in just 30 seconds here, and it will send Kayla Roberts to the free throw line with 5.5 seconds to go. Roberts, the exception that proves the rule for GRUA, 82% from the free throw line. And she'll shoot the first 1 and 1 of the ball game and make it. Roberts, all conference at Hillsborough Community College last season. She's played in every game except for the Armstrong game for the Jaguars, and she sinks both free throws. Mitchell takes it. She'll have plenty of time to shoot. Feeds it to Johnson in the corner. Ariel for 3. No good. Offensive rebound. Washington, and she gets it in. Well, I call it a pass. Ariel Johnson with the arcing shot. It's short. Washington perfectly played for the putback, and she gets it in just before the halftime buzzer. Washington with 4 points, and the Lady Cougars will go into the break with a 9-point advantage. It's 31-22 from the Lumpkin Center. We'll be back in about 12 minutes to give you the first half stats and a preview of the second half. 31-22, Lady Cougars out in front. You're watching CSU women's basketball right here on Cougar Sports TV. 31-22 as we come back to the second half from the Lumpkin Center. The Lady Cougars of CSU appear to be on their way to a 16th win of this season. But GRU Augusta hanging tough, still looking to play the Spoilermaker and pick up win number 3. Thanks for joining us for that second half on Cougar Sports TV, everybody. Will DeBoer behind the mic, and let's get you some first half stats. For CSU, well, it was going to be nearly impossible to follow up what they did against North Georgia with that 61% shooting percentage, but they have shot the ball fairly well in this first half. 13 of 29 from the floor, that's good for 44.8%. Just 2 of 12 from beyond the arc, and 3 of 4 from the free throw line. Top scorers, Michelle Mitchell, 16 points, over half of her team's scoring in that first half. She's followed up by Kerry Washington, who has 5, including a putback at the buzzer to end the first half. Ashley Asuzu with 4 points, and then Dee Dee DeShazer and Bria Walker a 3-pointer apiece. As for GRU Augusta, 9 of 26 from the floor. That's about 34.5% shooting. Leading scorer Kayla Roberts has 9, 3 for 4 from the floor, including 4 steals. That's where the game has really sort of congealed, if you could say that. 8 steals for each side, 11 turnovers for GRU Augusta, and 10 for Columbus State. A game fairly sloppy at times, but also devoid of fouls. Just 7 whistles against CSU and 6 against GRUA. The teams will switch sides as we start this second half. CSU will move left to right as you see them. GRU right to left, and the Jaguars will begin with possession. The starters back on the court for the Jaguars: G, Hutt, Roberts, Belcher, and Feinhart. For CSU, it's the same 5 of DeShazer, Tatum, Mitchell, Asuzu, and Washington. And we are underway with half number 2 from the Lumpkin Center. The swing is to Belcher in the corner, and she drains it. Jocelyn Belcher came out firing in the beginning of the first half. She does so in the second and gets her first 3-pointer of the ball game. It's back within 6. Mitchell facing a double team, swings it to DeShazer. Had a rough first half, 1 of 7 shooting. Mitchell posts up, off the glass, and good. Mitchell ought to major in physics. She reads that glass like no other, scoring at least half of her 18 points with a perfectly placed bank shot. Now it's 33-25. This is Roberts. Feinhart loses control, and he'll go the other way. Kelsey Feinhart couldn't come up with that one. 6'0" senior out of Pella, Iowa. A large Dutch population in Pella. There is a college there affiliated with one of the Dutch Reformed churches, Central College. And Feinhart coming down to Georgia instead of going local, although she did transfer from Des Moines Area Community College. Decided to go out and see the world beyond the cornfields of Iowa. Mitchell tried to get it inside to Washington, and Feinhart comes up with a steal, making up for her last turnover. Belcher charging on Tatum, and she'll bring it back. Jocelyn working her way all the way inside, splits 3 defenders, but off the bottom of the rim. Feinhart the offensive board, and a fresh 30 for Blue. Working with 3 fouls is Cariel Hutt. Belcher for 3, well short. Tatum got a hand on it, offensive rebound by G, and she draws contact. That's the 3rd foul against Ashley Asuzu. The foul trouble staying with Asuzu. Coach Norton at the beginning of this game talking about how important it was for her to stay on the court. And she picks up foul number 3 not 2 minutes into the second half. G sinks the first free throw, a 78% shooter from the line. The team's leading scorer with 12.9 points per game. And she is always on that floor as she sinks both of her free throws. 2nd in the PBC in minutes per game and 2nd in 3-point percentage. Camille G, the junior out of Andover, Kansas. for a GRU team that draws heavily from the Midwest. Iowa, Kansas, Missouri. Isuzu misses on the 10-foot shot, but gets her own rebound, and it's a fresh 30. Tatum swings it to Ashley. Ashley pulls up, thought about going inside, gets it out to Brittany Tatum. Tatum from the left wing, and she drains it. Brittany Tatum, 20 points in the last game. Went scoreless in that first half, but now she is on the board for the Lady Cougars, and the lead is back to 9, same as it was when we began this half. Here's Hutt facing the double team. G from the corner, strong. Ashley, no, that's Kerry Washington with the rebound. Washington, with a few more 10-rebound games, could find herself in the top 10 in the league all-time in career rebounds. Tatum circling the wagons on the court. Into Washington at the top of the circle. Isuzu, uncontested jump shot, and she'll make that just about every time. Isuzu with 6 on the 15-footer. And it's double digits, the largest lead of the ball game for CSU at 38-27. Inside, easy bucket for Kelsey Feinhardt. And the Dutch woman is on the board with her first points. 38-29. Mitchell to Tatum. No, that's DeShazer. DeShazer will take a 3 and miss again. Souza with the offensive rebound finds Washington. Perfect play, perfect ball movement, and the easiest bucket that Kerry Washington will see all day. She's up to 6 points, nearing her season's average of 8.4. Now it's 40-29, an 11-point lead that looks bigger with the discrepancy in the tens column. Belcher. And she comes up with air and comes up with chance from the CSU rooting section, and that will send us into the timeout. We'll see if those chants continue, and they do not. 15:54 remaining in the second half. CSU pushing the lead to 40-29. You're watching CSU women's basketball right here on Cougar Sports TV. Hi-ho Silver. CSU pep band giving you the sounds of the Lone Ranger. And it's the Lady Cougars who are riding high so far in this game. It's a 40-29 lead for the 19th ranked team in all of Division II. Tatum pushing it up. She's guarded by Erica Waters. Gives it out to Isuzu. Now Mitchell. Mitchell 16 points in the first half, 2 in the first 4 minutes of the second. Isuzu the spin move, and she rattles it home. Ashley Isuzu so good in the conference play this year. She had a stretch where she had 4 straight double-doubles. That was snapped on Wednesday against North Georgia. And now the Lady Cougars with the largest lead of the game, 13 points, and this is where GRU could start falling off the face of the planet. Isuzu gets in the way of Feinhardt, comes up with the rebound. Here comes Michelle on the left wing, will hand it off to Ashley. Thought about the 3, swings it to Dee. DeShazer stops the dribble, she gets G in her face. Now it's Mitchell coming inside, off the glass, short that time, couldn't quite read it. Kerry Washington, the offensive rebound. Around 2 Jaguar defenders and puts it in. Kerry Washington, so good in the post, staying out of foul trouble in this game. And it's a 15-point lead. It could be more on the steal by Tatum. Brittany inside. Counted on the foul. The Lady Cougars have taken this game and nearly put it away in the first 5 minutes of the second half. Brittany Tatum, the contested layup, and she'll go to make it a three-point play. And it rims out, but Kerry Washington, offensive rebound. Isuzu on the baseline, instead gives it to Mitchell. While CSU not the best shooting free throw team, only 60%. But with rebounders like Isuzu and Washington, occasionally it pays off. There's the steal. Going the other way, it's Kayla Roberts. Roberts working on Tatum, and Brittany gets in her way, and will send Kayla Roberts to the free throw line. First foul for Tatum, and it sends Roberts, an 82% shooter, to the line to make her first. Kayla Roberts, 6.8 points per game. She's got 10 today, the leading scorer for the Jags. Make it 11 points now. 4 free throws on 4 chances for Kayla Roberts. And the lead is 15 for CSU. GRU having to do some heavy lifting in the second half if they want to not just hang tough, but make it look respectable. Washington inside, short. Another gimme that doesn't go for Kerry Washington, and the rebound going the Jaguars' way. Here's Roberts. Whistle, and a 30-second timeout called by Nate Teamer. This will make it an immediate timeout, as it's the first timeout of the second half. We will step aside momentarily. 46-31, a 15-point cushion for the Lady Cougars. You're watching Columbus State women's basketball right here on Cougar Sports TV.
Fans don't forget to help Columbus State Athletics by becoming a member of the Cougar Club. Go to CSUCougars.com.
13:53 to go in the second half. 46-31 for CSU, as you heard Poker Face by Lady Gaga from the Pep Band. To make reference to another song, CSU knows when to hold them and knowing when to fold them so far against the Jaguars of Augusta. G and the Jaguars looking for the big payout, looking to stay close. Camille goes up and gets the bucket, and she'll go to the free throw line. They get Michelle Mitchell for the interference on the come down from the jump shot. G goes to the line looking to complete the three-point play. 78% in all. And she does. 7 points for G. And it's a 12-point hole for the Jags. Tatum in to run the point. The starters seeing action in all of these first 6 minutes for Columbus State. Coach Norton going with his big lineup to put the final nails in the coffin on this afternoon potentially. Remind you that immediately following this game, the CSU men's basketball team will face GRU Augusta as Ashley Isuzu sinks a 16-foot jumper from the baseline. Ashley's into double figures now, and that is another double-double for Ashley Isuzu, her 5th in 6 games. 10 points and 10 rebounds. For someone, a dark horse contender for all conference honors. Offensive rebounds by Sabrina Montgomery, and she'll go to the line as Isuzu may have to sit now with her 4th foul, and she will. Looks like Erin Morrow will come in and take her place in the post. Montgomery, the big arcing shot, and she puts it in. Morrow and Cochran, the two Erins coming in. Morrow will play the post. Coach Norton mentioning in the pregame she played power forward over at Chattahoochee High School. Only 5'8", but it was a short team. Missed free throw, offensive rebound for Roberts. They go inside to Feinhardt. No good. Rebound going the other way. It's Mitchell. 4-on-4. Washington lays it in. Carrie Washington into double figures. That's her 10th and 11th points. 3 players for CSU with 10 or more points. Mitchell with 18, Washington 11, and Isuzu 10. Back to a 15-point lead. Columbus State the first to 50. Into the corner for G. Cochran tried for the pick, controlled by Waters. 5 to shoot. Feinhardt to Shazer. Interference. GRU has it, and they won't be able to get anything up. A shot clock violation. Rock solid defense for Columbus State, and they force the turnover. And for Columbus State, the defense has been there all season. They hold their opponents under 60 points per game, 59.9, a scoring margin of nearly 17 points more per game. The result, a 15-1 record, with a chance to make it 16-1 after 11 minutes and 59 seconds more of play. Media timeout, it's the under 12. It's a 50-35 lead for the good guys. You're watching CSU women's basketball right here on Cougar Sports TV.
Cougar fans, don't forget to stick around for more action as Cougars will take on the Jaguars in the final conclusion of this Lady Cougar game.
50-35, a shade under 12 to go from the Lumpkin Center. Columbus State looking to make it their 11th straight win in this building, dating back to last season, which included a Peach Belt tournament victory on its home court. Swinging inside to Cochran, it's back out to Mitchell. She'll take the 2-point jumper and sink it. Michelle Mitchell foregoing what could have been a 3-point basket. She never takes those. Instead, she'll settle for the 18-foot 2-pointer, and he'll give her 20 points. 5 in a row and 20 points now for Michelle Mitchell. And there's Washington keeping it in bounds. Cochran pushing it the other way. Aaron with a Y, hands it off to Dee. Rims out. Nothing falling for Dee to Shazer today. Augusta has the chance to respond, and it's Belcher from the corner. Sinks it. Jocelyn Belcher, her second 3-pointer of this second half. She's up to 8 points. And Augusta trims it down to a 14-point hole. Mitchell works around Feinhardt. Goes up against the Twin Towers for GRU Augusta. No way she could overcome both Montgomery and Feinhardt. And the Jaguars will push it the other way. Swing into a corner, 19-footer, it's good. Erica Waters. Waters picks up her first points. Averages, what does she average? 2.5 per game. And now it's 52-40. 5 in a row for Georgia Regents. Cochran to Morrow at the top of the circle to Shazer. And Roberts got a hand in there and got body, not ball.
She has 2, the team has 2.
2 fouls against Roberts, and now a threesome coming in for GRUA. I see G, I see Hutt, I see Sykes. And to take on CSU. 10:20 to go. Mitchell working against G, swings it inside. Here's the 7-foot jumper, rims out. Morrow saves it in bounds, but DD to Shazer can't control it, and the ball goes back to blue. This is a 30-second timeout coming from Jonathan Norton. 13 turnovers now for Columbus State against 15 for Georgia Regents. Very evenly matched game in just about every respect. The difference being Columbus State is shooting 50% from the floor and GRUA is stuck at 37. Your turnovers are close together. Points off turnovers. Total rebounds, CSU only leads 27 to 23. Offensive rebounds, defensive rebounds. Steals are dead even at 10 apiece. It's straight up shooting that's putting Columbus State in front by 12, 3 quarters into the game. Here's the final 10 from the lump. Too strong of a shot from Roberts, but she gets her own rebound and makes up for it with the layup. Roberts with 13 points now. Nearing her season's high of 17, which she got against Benedict in the first game of the season. Great ball movement. Cochran's three is waved off. 3 seconds, the violation called against Kerry Washington. Oh, Cochran, who doesn't shoot well from three-point range, just 12%. Had one nothing but net, but it's not going to count for her. Augusta can get it back within single digits if they make a basket here. And now adding insult to injury, Erin Cochran gets the foul against her. Second foul against Erin with a Y. Now Brittany Tatum back into the game. Along with Bria Walker, so on the floor, it's Morrow, Tatum, Walker, Mitchell, and Washington for the Lady Cougars. GRU hanging around, one more big run, and they're right back into this game. But they won't get there if they don't control the ball. Passes flying everywhere. G with the close shot, rims out 3 or 4 times. Bad luck for Camille G, and she'll commit the foul against Kerry Washington. Rather, Cariel Hutt gets a whistle against her name. 4 fouls for Hutt, who has been kept in check for the most part in this game. Just 4 points and 2 rebounds for a woman who averages nearly a double-double per game. Tatum on the baseline, passed for Morrow, intercepted. Belcher tried to keep it in, but she stepped on the line, and it'll stay with Columbus State. Shot clock not resetting. They'll have 13 to put it up. Tatum to inbound. Gets it off to Walker. Walker. She'll pull up from 3, contested occasionally. Instead gives it to Mitchell. Turnaround jumper, 7 foot, off the mark. Rebound by Washington. Missed again. Tipped out of bounds, and they say it went off of Feinhardt, not Washington, staying with Columbus State. First and second chances not going for the Lady Cougars, but they'll get a 3rd crack at it on the inbound. Mitchell gives it to Walker. Bree gives it up to Morrow. Morrow at the top of the circle. Mitchell in the corner. Back to Erin Morrow. Erin with an eye. Tatum on the baseline. Tatum working in reverse layup, and she draws hard contact, falls to the floor. Tried the athletic bucket. Instead, she'll get free throws coming up. Tavia Sykes with her first foul. And here comes Tatum. Just a 49% shooter from the line. 3 points today, looking to make it 4 and even 5. Brittany Tatum coming off of her 20.8 rebound game against North Georgia. Struggled out of the gate to begin the 2015 calendar year, but worked very closely with CSU assistant coach Kirsten Reed on keeping turnovers under control as she sinks her second free throw. (53-42). 11 points. Belcher makes it 9 again. Augusta back within single digits. Jocelyn Belcher into double figures now as, I'll call it the announcer jinx. Tatum turns it over, dribbles it off her foot. 8:01 in this second half. Augusta like a pesky gnat, hanging around, just won't go away. Just as they have done to Norton and the Lady Cougars the past 2 seasons. Isuzu and DeShazer will come in off the bench after the next break, which will also give us immediate timeout. And here's an offensive foul. Illegal screen against Kelsey Feinhardt. Second foul against her. And that'll take us to our under 8 media timeout. 7:41 to go in the second half. CSU up 53-44. You're watching Columbus State women's basketball right here on Cougar Sports TV. Will DeBoer with you as we return for the last 7:41 of the second half from the Lumpkin Center. Columbus State leading Georgia Regents 53-44. Let's look around the PBC once more. Women's basketball scores from Florence, South Carolina. Jay Sparks and Francis Marion falling to Young Harris 67-65. Clayton State taking care of Flagler 90-71. Clayton State being CSU's biggest rival thus far in the PBC West. North Georgia rebounding from their tough loss in this building on Wednesday to knock off UNC Pembroke 59-50. Armstrong over Georgia College, and then Lander over Montevallo soundly. Lady Cougars will travel up to Lander on Martin Luther King Day. They'll play there the day after, the only Tuesday game of the PBC this week. The rest of the team is playing on that Monday holiday. 4 to shoot. Mitchell will have to put something up. She does. She won't get it, but she'll go to the free throw line. Sykes picks up a foul and he'll send Mitchell to the free throw line. Michelle's cooled off a bit in the second half, just 4 points to bring her up to 20. And the free throw rims out. The shots have not been falling for Michelle Mitchell in these last 10 minutes. But that one does. Now 21 for the 5'9" junior, coming to us from Eastman, Georgia, and Troy University. The lifeblood of this CSU offense throughout the season. 10+ points in every game but one, and 20+ points in the last 5. She has made 2015 her own. 6 to shoot. G working on a Suzu. Misfires, and Ashley pulls down her 11th rebound. 10 and 11 for Ashley Isuzu. Didn't have quite the numbers against North Georgia. She didn't need them. Before that, 4 straight double-doubles, including 14 points and 18 rebounds in Aiken against the Pacers going into the Christmas break. Mitchell, turnaround jumper, well short, almost like a pass to Washington. She misses another one from point-blank range, and here comes G the other way. It's a 2-on-1 in the left corner. Camille G drawing contact, nearly running into the ref and the dance team. And she'll go back to the free throw line. Two fouls against Brittany Tatum, both of them in the second half. And 6 team fouls for both sides. Bit of a more physical second half than the first. GRU with just 6 fouls in the opening gambit, 7 for the Lady Cougars. Now G shanks the first one. G coming out of Andover High School in Andover, Kansas. 3-time All-State in the Jayhawk State. 2010, her team went a perfect 25-0 and won the state championship. Here's a woman who's used to winning on the basketball court. It must be a tough adjustment coming to a team that's only 2 and 12 throughout this season thus far. But Augusta hanging tough, only down 10 with 6 to go. Ball deflected out of bounds. It'll stay on the white end. Columbus will have 12 to shoot when Mitchell inbounds the ball. Michelle gets it to Brittany Tatum, and there's an immediate foul going against CSU. They get Carrie Washington for a push-off before the inbound even comes in. And a giveaway for Columbus State gives the ball back to GRUA. Here come the Jaguars. Waters running the point. G back to Waters, DeShazer guarding the Augusta player from Lawrenceville, Georgia. Inside to Feinhardt, Dutch Thunder, Kelsey Feinhardt, the easy layup. 30-second timeout coming from Nate Teemer. Feinhardt with 4 points in this game, both buckets coming in the second half. And now it's back to 8 points. The Jaguars pushing the envelope on a Saturday afternoon in Columbus. As we see in the near right corner from your perspective, the Columbus State men's basketball team watching the end of this one. Cougars coming into their matchup with the GRU men atop the PBC West. Looking to get some momentum coming into another matchup against Lander. That game will start about 30 minutes after the conclusion of this one right here on Cougar Sports TV. Stephen Williams will be with you for the call. And they get Camille G with her 3rd foul. 7th against the Jaguars, and they'll send DeShazer to the free throw line with a 1-and-1. DD 62%. Missing the 1-and-1. Washington offensive rebound, and that one doesn't go either. Carrie Washington is livid. She's missed 4 straight putbacks. And she pulls down another rebound, goes down hard, and Carrie Washington, for a split second, looked very hurt. Instead, she gets up, and she'll go to the free throw line, looking to make up for a few of her misses. They get Feinhardt with the foul. 3 against Feinhardt. 8 against the Jaguars, and it sends Washington to the free throw line for the 2nd time today. Carey shoots about 5 free throws a game, makes 2.5 of them. And it gets a lucky bounce on the first one. Making Washington her first free throw of the game, 11 points. Second bounce doesn't go quite her way. 1 of 2 for Washington. That's a 9-point cushion for Columbus State. They were much more comfortable earlier in this first half, had it up as much as 16. But the Blues sticking around. Washington with the block. Top 5 in the country. Carrie Washington, arms like fly swatters in this her senior season. 7 to shoot. Inbound to Feinhardt, too strong off the glass. Mitchell the rebound. Michelle with 5 boards, she's pushing it. Float shot to Tatum. Baseline, no good. DeShazer the offensive rebound, and she misses it again. Dee DeShazer, ice cold, 1 of 10 shooting. Usually she puts in 13 points per game. She has just 3 today, a 3-pointer in the opening half. And they get Michelle Mitchell with the elbow again. Second time she's done that today. 3rd foul against her. And it will send Sykes to the free throw line. Looking up 9 points with 4:23 to go. Tavia Sykes, just 56% free throw shooter, makes the first. Sykes, a 5'10" sophomore out of Flowery Branch, Georgia. Had a big game against Lander a couple weeks ago. 14 points, 4 rebounds in just 21 minutes. Led her in both volleyball and track and field in addition to basketball in high school. And she puts that one short. Rebound goes to Mitchell. Tatum running the point, accosted by Erica Waters. Isuzu swings it to Mitchell. Washington has it slip through her fingertips, but she gets control of it. 12 to shoot. Tatum forces it into Mitchell. Mitchell working her way in, and the whistle will go against. It's away from the ball, and it goes, or rather no, it is Tavia Sykes. It's not 14 as it looked like the referee indicated, but 24. 3rd foul against Sykes, all in the second half, and it'll bring us into our final media timeout of the game. Don't go away, folks. We got the final bit of the contest. Come up with your syllable as you wish when we come back here. 55-47 CSU out in front. You're watching Lady Cougar basketball on Cougar Sports TV. The final act from the Lumpkin Center, 3:58 to go, 55-47. Columbus Day out in front. Michelle Mitchell at the free throw line, shooting a 1-and-1, looking to push it back into double figures. And she is halfway there, makes the first free throw. Mitchell 16 points in the first half, up to 22 in the game thus far. Barring some great run in the last 4 minutes, she won't get a career high today. 6 both of them, and now it's a 10-point cushion for CSU. 5 of 6 from the free throw line for Michelle Mitchell today. That's well over her season's average. Not in percentage, but in terms of trips to the line. GRUA milking the clock. They can't afford to do this with so little time left in such a big hole. 7 to shoot. Back out to Waters. They're going to have to figure out something. There's 2. 1. Hutt takes a shot from 18 foot. Rims out. Rebound to Shazer. Poor time management by GRU Augusta. And now Columbus State will look to do just the same thing, but use that clock to their advantage instead of being an adversary. 3:15 to go. Tatum in control. It's Tatum, Mitchell, Isuzu, Washington, and DeShazer. The starting 5 out for CSU. Ashley works her way inside. Kerry Washington put back that time. It goes in. Kerry Washington's had offensive board after offensive board all throughout this game. 14 rebounds. And now 14 points for the senior from Donaldsonville, Georgia. Swung into the corner. There's G for 3. Rims out. just to the right. Mitchell the rebound. Here she comes. Swings it that time to Washington, and a foul is called. Erica Waters picking up her first bit of physical misfortune. And it goes to Carrie Washington for a couple free throws. This is that one. I thought at first that the referees would indicate a jump ball, as it looked like Waters got her hands on it instead of having her hands on Washington, as it's halfway down for Washington and it just doesn't fall. But significant about this game, we have not seen a jump ball yet, and we've only got 2.5 minutes to go. So a few turnovers for both sides, over 20 combined. But aside from that, not sloppy in terms of their going to the floor like it's professional wrestling. Hutt too strong on the 5-footer, rebound Carrie Washington. But there's Hutt with the steal on the baseline, and a quick timeout for Coach Nate Teamer. 60-second timeout. Will step away, presumably for the final time, with 2:06 to go and a 12-point Columbus State lead. You're watching CSU women's basketball right here on Cougar Sports TV. Coming out of that timeout, inbound coming from Waters as the Gary Glitter music dies down. Feinhardt, Belcher for three, sinks it. Nothing but net for Jocelyn Belcher. 3 threes for her today, 13 points for the 5'7" freshman, and there's a foul in the backcourt. Erica Waters picking up what is now her 3rd foul. Double bonus time for Columbus State. Brittany Tatum going to the free throw line. Tatum comparatively quiet when put against her 20-point game on Wednesday, but she makes the first free throw. 7 points for Brittany Tatum. And she'll stick with 7 points, but get her own rebound. Nice hustle for the LaGrange native. Brittany Tatum, 5'6", the sophomore, started every game last year at the point in her freshman season. And she turns that one over. Nice hustle defense from Erica Waters, a senior leader for this GRU Augusta side. 10 points in 100 seconds. Can they do it? It has been done. But not if they keep missing shots like that. But Belcher gets her own rebound. G from NBA range. She had a country mile of space between her and a CSU defender, but she comes up short. And now Tatum working with it. Reach-in foul against Waters. 4 fouls for Waters as she goes over to the bench to get instruction from Nate Teamer. On the CSU side, Jonathan Norton giving instruction to Ida Shazer as Tatum will shoot 2 and make the first. Jonathan Norton on the verge of improving to 16-1. His best start as the leader of the Columbus State women's basketball program. Picked up his 100th win on Wednesday night. As Tatum misses again. Norton, the protege of Jay Sparks, the founder of this program. He was an assistant on Sparks' best team in 2001. They won 31-1 and got to the Final Four. Washington with authority rejects that shot. GRU gets another shot at it. No, offensive rebound, third chance coming up for the Jaguars. G working with under a minute, comes inside, draws the foul, and she'll go to the line. Augusta not rattled with the volleyball-esque kill from Kerry Washington. Mitchell will pick up the fourth foul, third straight game, 4 fouls against her name. And G goes back to the line for her 6th free throw, which goes in. G 8 points, that's 5 under her season's average. Kept in check today, also kept in check, someone who's not even on the court right now, Cariel Hutt. Suzu and Washington had done a tremendous job of shutting her down today as G hits the 2nd free throw. Hutt just 5 points and 6 rebounds, half of what she usually gets. Mitchell will go to the line. And it's the 5th foul against Erica Waters. The left-right chant coming from Coach Norton's rooting section, just behind my right shoulder, the left side of the screen for those of you at home. Waters takes her seat. Just 2 points on 1 of 4 shooting, 2 boards and a pair of assists. As Mitchell misses the first free throw. Cold shooting second half for Michelle Mitchell, but she will still finish the game if she doesn't take any more shots above 50% from the floor. 9 of 16 shooting for Mitchell. A lot of those points came in the first half. She had 16 of them. Many on fast breaks, which she has been so good at all season. And then she misses both of the free throws. Columbus State letting GRU hang around. It's 9 points, 45 seconds to go. G coming towards the baseline. Out to Belcher. Belcher behind the back. Step back jumper. Well short. Rebound by Hutt. G into the corner. Got it! Camille G. Her first 3-pointer of the game, and she's up to 12 points, nearing her season's average. It's just a 6-point game now. Hang on, folks. We're not done yet. Nate Teamer and Jonathan Norton very familiar with each other. They coached at the same level a couple times throughout their careers. Teamer's been a thorn in Norton's side the past 2 years. The Lady Cougars found themselves down 7 points in the second half on the road in Augusta last year before forcing overtime and outscoring them 13-0 in the extra period. And 2 years ago, when GRU Augusta finished atop the PVC East, a #1 seed in the tournament, Columbus State held on to win by 7. The quick foul goes against Tavia Sykes, 4 for her, and will send the poor shooting Washington to the free throw line. If you look at CSU's alignment right now, with all the starters out on the floor, really there's only one person that you can't afford to foul, and that's Mitchell. 87% coming into this game, despite missing her last 2. Washington, meanwhile, she sinks her first. Carey under 50% from the line, Tatum under 50%, DeShazer just 62, and a Suzu at 68%. But Carey Washington coming up big in the closing minutes of this contest. Both free throws. The lead is back to 8, 30-second timeout, and we'll keep it here on Cougar Sports TV. Just past 5 o'clock in Columbus, Georgia, the western edge of the Eastern time zone. One of the more western schools in this Peach Belt Conference. Only Montevallo is closer to the Mississippi River than Columbus. 35.3 to go. 63-55. 4-second difference between the shot and the game clock. G into the corner once again, and she just misses it. Isuzu with a big rebound. She'll pick up the foul and go to the line, and that may just about do it here from the Lumpkin Center. Ashley Isuzu, a remarkable performance here against Cariel Hutt and Augusta. 12 rebounds now for Isuzu, the 6'0" sophomore from Montgomery, Alabama. Hits her first free throw. The only active Lady Cougar to not come from the state of Georgia. This is the back end of the two-shot foul chance. 9 points, the same as it was coming into the second half. And a bank shot by Tavia Sykes keeps it interesting. 15 to go. Washington gives it to Mitchell. Mitchell, the best free throw shooter on the team. Hutt reaches in there, and she picks up her 5th foul. Five fouls against Hutt. She will end this game in disappointing fashion. 5 points and 6 rebounds coming into it, averaging 11 points and 10 rebounds, if you round up. Mitchell with the free throw. She is 6 of 9 from the line today. Make it 10, or 7 of 10 rather. 25 points for Michelle Mitchell. The average will go up. A remarkable Peach Belt season for her. G swings the 3 and she buries it. Camille G showing up in the closing moments. GRU could have used her earlier in the game. And that'll make the score more interesting, but that'll do it here from the Lumpkin Center. Well, Augusta hung around as long as they could. They made Jonathan Norton and the Lady Cougars sweat it out, but they do indeed sweat it out. 66-60, Lady Cougars on top for the 16th time in 17 chances this year. They stretch their winning streak to 11 in a row inside this fine building dating back to last season. Player of the game, I give it a split between Carrie Washington and Ashley Isuzu, combining for 27 points and 29 rebounds. 16 and 16 for Washington, 11 and 13 for Isuzu. Crashed the boards, gave you a second chance points throughout the contest, and completely shut down the inside game for GRU Augusta. As you see the men's team taking the floor, we'll be back with you in about 15 minutes. Stephen Williams will be on the call for Columbus State men's basketball. Until then, on behalf of all of us here at the Lumpkin Center, our director Mark Madden, this is Will DeBoer saying so long and goodbye for just a few minutes here from the Lump. CSU women on top again, 66-60. You've been watching Columbus State women's basketball right here on Cougar Sports TV.